Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We are putting on our anthropologist hats to study a truly bizarre, deeply fascinating subject, the deceptive rituals of modern human communication. We're diving into the source material from Everything is Fine, which is just this brilliant breakdown of the intricate, absolutely necessary fictions we deploy every single day. If you've ever claimed you were quote-unquote fine while actively, metaphorically on fire, well, you're in the right place. We're going to decode all those tiny, beautiful lies that prevent society from just collapsing into a screaming void. Okay, let's start with an absolute classic. You know the one, you've sent it, you've received it. I'm almost there, just parking now. This is the universal morning text that we all send when we are definitely, unequivocally not parking. Honestly, you might not even have your shoes on yet, but we send it anyway, right? It just perfectly maintains this mutual delusion of punctuality. And then there's this masterpiece of social avoidance. We should totally get coffee sometime. This is the ultimate networking lie we tell just to comfortably avoid an awkward goodbye. It's not a real plan. It's really just a pleasant, warm feeling you both agree to have about a theoretical future that, let's be honest, is never actually going to happen. But the absolute pinnacle of this art form, per my last email, this is where polite dishonesty crashes right into the passive-aggressive corporate battleground. It's literally business casual violence. It translates roughly to, I already told you this, you absolute fool. And it really sets the perfect tone for our journey today through the wild landscape of everyday deception.
So let's get into Section 1, Daily Maintenance Fictions.
Let's actually map out what I like to call the geography of optimism. On one hand, you have the message, I'm almost there. On the other, the stark physical reality, you're still in your bathroom holding a toothbrush, completely missing a shoe. But this phrase isn't actually a lie born out of malice, right? It's just hope dressed up as a GPS estimate. It's basically a prayer to the god of green lights that you can somehow defy the laws of linear time. Walk through this timeline with me because it is too real. At 11:51 a.m., the active denial phase begins. At 11:53, you text, leaving now, even though, minor detail, you don't actually put on pants until 11:54. By 12:07, you're texting, just parking, while completely stopped at a red light miles away. And you finally roll in at 12:14. It's this hilarious, real-time anxiety loop of failing at being a punctual person, yet it taps into this universally understood panic of modern coordination. Now let's look at the hard, quote-unquote, emotionally accurate data on the almost there text. 73% of people haven't even left the house yet. 23% are literally still deciding whether or not to shower. And that remaining 4%, those are the unicorns who actually show up when they say they will. And honestly, society just kind of doesn't trust them. Moving on to our next daily maintenance fiction, the super chill accommodation. No worries if not. Versus the internal reality of, I am so worried. I've already composed 6 follow-ups in my head. Please just say yes. This phrase is really an elaborate emotional fortress. We meticulously design it to protect ourselves from the incoming missile of rejection by preemptively pretending we just don't care. All right, moving right along to Section 2, corporate deferments and delays. We gotta start with the undisputed crown jewel of corporate speak. Let's circle back. It's a polite fiction that lives entirely in the future but miraculously never arrives in the present. It's the highly professional way of abandoning a terrible idea in the parking lot and just hoping it gets towed. There's no circle, there's no back. There is only moving away from this conversation forever. If we methodically break down the theater of modern meetings, it plays out exactly like this. You discuss the issue. People immediately disagree about the timeline or the budget. And then someone bravely pulls the ejector seat and says, let's circle back. Boom. Nothing changes. Absolutely no decisions are made, and the universe will literally expire before the issue is resolved. It's the perfect way meetings successfully end without accomplishing a single thing. And then there's the classic martyr smile. You type, happy to help, but the true translation is, I am screaming internally in glorious 4K resolution. You are not happy, you are actively resentful, but you slam that exclamation point anyway, completely masking your genuine exhaustion and the total collapse of your personal boundaries just to seem like a quote-unquote team player. Which brings us right back to our absolute favorite corporate weapon, the escalation scale of per my last email. We start nice and easy at level 3 with a gentle, as previously mentioned. By level 6, we're heating up with per my email below, pointing right at the evidence. Level 8 is the classic itself. Level 10, that's when the timestamped forensic evidence comes out. And then there's the nuclear option, forwarding the entire chain with a single, devastating word, thoughts. It just perfectly maps the escalating violence from a gentle nudge to active corporate warfare. Now, check this out. The total temporal impossibility of the, quote, quick call. 97% of these absolutely could have been an email. Only 3% actually needed a call. A quick call is an oxymoron, much like jumbo shrimp. It's just a lie we tell ourselves to make synchronous communication feel less demanding, when in reality, we all know it's a minimum 27-minute hostage situation. Now we are entering Section 3, Digital Defense Mechanisms. The absolute ultimate digital defense? Blaming the hardware. Sorry, my phone died. Compared to the truth, my phone is at 47% and I am actively avoiding human contact. Blaming our devices is society's perfect, unprovable excuse. The phone is the ultimate scapegoat. It can't defend itself, and it completely removes the responsibility of communication from you and blames it entirely on a technological failure. Let's get a little scientific about this battery chaos, shall we? At 80% battery, you're sitting pretty in comfortable ignorance. At 50%, the anxiety starts creeping in. By 20%, you acknowledge the notification and just willfully ignore it anyway. At 5%, you are literally panic texting people that your phone is dying instead of, actually plugging it in. And at 1%, come on, let's be honest, you did this to yourself. Another fantastic digital defense is the classic, just seeing this. But there's a strict decay rate on this excuse before it becomes totally unbelievable. With your boss, you've got a maximum of 2 hours. With a colleague, you can usually stretch it to about 24 hours. But with a friend, you somehow get a full 168 hours, a whole week, before just saw this decays from a polite excuse into you just being a genuinely terrible friend. So the really crucial takeaway here, that tiny decimal represents the exact statistical probability of actually getting coffee with someone after performing the whole ritual of checking your empty calendars together. You both pretend to scroll through schedules that are completely wide open, performing this grand illusion of demand. But the likelihood of the stars actually aligning to grab that coffee? Yeah, basically zero. And that brings us to Section 4, why everything is fine. Here's the thing, polite dishonesty, it literally maintains civilization and our friendships. Brutal honesty, on the other hand, would cause the immediate collapse of human society, honestly. If we were brutally honest about our exhaustion or annoyance or our sheer desire to just sit on the couch in sweatpants instead of going to that party, society would literally tear itself apart in a week. Our source material captures this beautifully. We take turns being late, and we take turns pretending to believe each other's lies. See, these daily fictions aren't malicious deception at all. They're actually a mutual agreement, a little bit of digital age grace we give to one another. We just all agree to play the game so that life remains bearable for everyone involved. Because ultimately, these lies are kind of a love language. It really just means you matter enough to lie to. Pretending everything is fine, saying you're almost there, or claiming you just saw an email. This is how we maintain relationships without demanding constant, exhausting emotional labor from each other. It's the absolute essential lubricant for the gears of social interaction. So I'm going to leave you with a final, provocative thought to chew on. What would actually happen if you were brutally honest for just one single day? No almost there, no happy to help, no my phone died. Just the raw, unvarnished truth. It really makes you look at your own little daily fictions differently, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. And just remember, the next time someone texts you they're just parking, yeah, they're definitely still at home. Everything is fine.